Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Bhagavad Gita. Today we will be starting the 11th chapter and we will be discussing the first verse of the 11th chapter. This is the chapter about the universal form of Krishna, the Virat Rupa. And today the subject is the heart of a preacher. We will be studying Arjuna's statement here and how he is thinking and what prodded him to ask Krishna to show the universal form, to ask him to show the universal form. So we will go through that today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadade Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, Bhagavad Gita 11.1 Arjuna Uvacha Madanugrahaya Paramam Arjuna Uvacha Madanugrahaya Paramam Guhyam Adhyatma Samgitam Yatvayoktam Vachastena Mohoyam Vigato Mama. So it's a very, every word is very important here. Madanugrahaya Paramam. So we will go with synonyms, word to word meaning. Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna said, Mat Anugrahaya, just to show me favor. Paramam, supreme. Guhyam, confidential subject. Adhyatma, spiritual. Samgnitam, in the matter of. Yat, what. Tvaya, by you. Uktam, said. Vachah, words. Tena, by that. Moha, illusion. Ayam, this. Vigatah, is removed. Mama, my. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Arjuna said, by my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. I mean, Arjuna said this in the 18th chapter also, right? 73rd verse. Nashtamoha smritir labdha tvatpasadan mayachyuta sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. So, see, Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instructions. So, the same thing here. So, we'll read the purport and then we will discuss the topic in detail. Purport. This chapter reveals Krishna as the cause of all causes. He is even the cause of the Mahavishnu from whom the material universes emanate. Krishna is not an incarnation, he is the source of all incarnations. That has been completely explained in the last chapter. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he says that his illusion is over. Now, later in this chapter, after the universal form, when Arjuna becomes fearful, at that time he asks Krishna to show his most beautiful form again, so that he can be calmed down again. So first he shows the four-handed form, and finally the two-handed form, which is the most pleasing form. So in that way, there is explanation there that finally the two-handed form of Krishna is the origin of even the four-handed form, which is the origin of the Virat Rupa in this material world. So in that way, it is mentioned that Krishna is actually the source of all incarnations. So let's read on. That has been completely explained in the last chapter. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he says that his illusion is over. This means that Arjuna no longer thinks of Krishna as a mere human being, as a friend of his, but as the source of everything. Arjuna is very enlightened and is glad that he has such a great friend as Krishna. But now he is thinking that although he may accept Krishna as the source of everything, others may not. So in order to establish Krishna's divinity for all, he is requesting Krishna in this chapter to show his universal form. Actually, when one sees the universal form of Krishna, one becomes frightened, like Arjuna. But Krishna is so kind that after showing it, he converts himself again into his original form. Arjuna agrees to what Krishna has several times said, which is Krishna is speaking to him just for his benefit. So Arjuna acknowledges that all this is happening to him by Krishna's grace. He is now convinced that Krishna is the cause of all causes and is present in everyone's heart as the super soul or Paramatma. Okay, so here Madanugrahaya Paramam Guhyam Adhyatma Sangitam Yat Tvayoktam Vachastena Mohoyam Vigato Mama. So Arjuna is now placing before Krishna his understanding. He says, now my illusion is gone. I am now convinced. Of course, in this verse, his next question is not asked yet. The coming verses will, delineate more on that. That, he wants to see his universal form. But Prabhupada explains already, like a prelude, what he's going to ask and what propelled him to ask that. Now, Arjuna is completely satisfied with the understanding that Krishna is the all in all, the cause of all causes. So this is the beauty of spiritual life, that when one becomes satisfied in his curiosity. So in the beginning stages, there is curiosity, there is Shraddha, there is Jignasa. And, Athato Brahma Jignasa, Vedanta Sutra starts with this aphorism that we have to have Jignasa and Brahma Jignasa, spiritual inquiry. Otherwise, it's not even human life. Human life, if there is no inquiry, is same as animal life. Because animals also don't inquire about the spiritual value of life. And so, if humans also don't do that, then ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha samanyam etat pashubhir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhir samana. So if you don't have dharma, which starts with inquiry, why am I put in an awkward situation? Who am I actually? So these are the questions which will begin our spiritual journey. The knowledge is always there. Krishna is ensuring that that knowledge, that facility is always present for the human beings. But the key will be opened for us. The door will be opened for us. The key to that is inquiry and sincere inquiry. If we are sincerely inquiring about ourselves, who we are, and the purpose of life, then Krishna, seated in everyone's heart, he detects that sincerity of purpose, and then he guides that person to the proper bona fide spiritual master, the Guru. There is always a chance to contact the bona fide spiritual master. It seems so that, oh, there is not any chance actually, but there is chance. It is just that we have not been very sincere in our purpose of inquiry, which is why we did not contact, or even if we were in contact, we were oblivious to the facility. So the inquiry is what begins our spiritual journey. So in the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness, one is inquiring. For example, Arjuna, in the first chapter, he had a lot of confusion about what his duty was. And he was trying to answer his own questions, his own dilemma, by all the knowledge that he could gather. But then his considerations were material in nature, with the body being the prime center of his considerations. My body, my relatives, how can I sacrifice all of this for so-called duty, which includes killing them? So he was centering his entire philosophical understanding on preserving the body of himself and his kith and kin. So if the religious duty is challenging that preservation of the body, he was unable to accept that religious principle. He knew on one hand that he had to fight being a Kshatriya, but then if he goes the distance, if he goes through with that decision of fighting, that would include his kith and kin will be destroyed, or he will be destroyed on the battlefield. So he wanted the bodies to remain intact, everybody to remain intact and not be killed. And for that, he wanted to compromise on the religious side of things, the religious principles. And this is exactly why, in the beginning, when Arjuna asked Krishna, I am unable to solve my problems with, let's go to that verse. See. कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. Okay. Now Krishna, what he does after this question? What was his initial chastisement of Arjuna? You see, it's very pertinent. You see, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Ashochan Anvashochastvam Prajnavadamscha Bhashase Gataso Nagatasumscha Nanushocanti Pandita. You see, immediately Krishna detected the problem. Of course, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is the qualification of the Guru. He immediately knows what the problem is. And you see, the Supreme Personality of God, before he even started instructing Arjuna, he pointed out the fault. You see what the fault is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So what was he what is that which is not worthy of grief? The material body. But he's saying, Arjuna, you are mourning for the material body which is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So you see, although Arjuna was speaking so many things which are valid religious points, like the protection of women and the cohesion of society, because if the men are all killed, the women will become loose without any control, and there will be unwanted children without who will have no culture because they will not be brought up in a proper household, and in illicit affairs and no proper culture, and the whole civilization becomes atheistic, and everything becomes topsy-turvy. So that whole line of thought is valid, but not at the cost of the spiritual knowledge being at the center of it. Because if the men were intact, suppose, okay, there was no fight, and okay, let's not have the fight, let's keep everybody alive, so let Duryodhan rule, what will happen? What is the use of having, okay, men are supposed to protect the women, not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, spiritually, which is why, the husband is the guru of the wife, and the father is the guru of the family. That's the proper way of social structure. So if the man is not there in the household, of course there's going to be problems and imbalance. It will never be the same. But what if the man is irreligious, like Duryodhan? Arjuna's point was, if the men are no more there, then there will be unwanted progeny, and then there will be the offering of food and water to the ancestors will be stopped. All the religious rituals will be stopped, so there will be no religious life. That was his point. But what if irreligious men are there guiding, at the helm of society, at the helm of the family? They will guide them irreligiously. Like, Hiranyakashipu was there. He was a man, right? When he was not dead yet, he was ruling, but was it a good society? Atheistic. Everybody was being misled, and those who were actually following were harassed. So what is the point of having such people who are not devotees? So he missed the point. So Arjuna missed the point. So Krishna is pointing out the exact fault of Arjuna's reasoning, because he's saying that, Arjuna, you are speaking so many learned words, but at the center of it all, of your argument, is the idea that you want to preserve this body of yours. That is the mistake. So that's why Krishna starts off with the point that you are not the body. So Arjuna was quoting scripture to preserve his material attachment. So this is another side we have to understand. When we have to be very cautious on how to even apply the scriptures. This we have to learn from the bona fide spiritual master and the devotees who are following the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master. We cannot use Krishna for our service. Similarly, Krishna's words also we cannot use for our sense gratification, for our own personal satisfaction. We should not use the scripture for that. In fact, we have to follow the scripture even at the cost of personal inconvenience. And we should seek out what is actually to be sought, and then seek that through scripture, or go towards that. So what is that we have to seek? Seek out our devotional service, our relationship with Krishna. We have to understand who we are actually first. So in the beginning stages of devotional service, Krishna consciousness, one is preoccupied with the dilemma that he wants to solve for himself. He is not clear about who he is and who is God and what is his creation, what is the purpose. That curiosity will drive him in the beginning, or how to solve my problem. That's why if you see, in the beginning, Krishna is not asking Arjuna to immediately surrender to him, because Arjuna, playing the role of an ordinary confused person of this material world. Of course, he's a friend of Krishna and he's actually already established in Sakhya Rasa. But we're not talking about his spiritual position yet. He was playing the role of an ordinary confused conditioned soul. So in that position, Arjuna was more concerned about his own problems than his relationship with Krishna. Because you see, Krishna was his friend and he was personally sitting with him. So he did not need to think anything about anything else but to follow his instruction. Krishna wants the fight happened, okay, I will fight. That should have been the thing. But the whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken because Arjuna was not aligned with Krishna's desire. He was having his own plans, his own desire that he wants fulfilled. And that's what drove him to ask these questions, and the whole confusion started there. So, in the beginning, one is not interested in Krishna yet. He's interested in his own happiness. So Krishna, if you see the beginning chapters, Krishna is, telling Arjuna how he can be happy. You see, if you fight, if you die in this battlefield, you will attain Swarga, and if you win the battle, then you will, attain fame in this world, and you will have an unrivaled kingdom on earth. So either way, you're not going to lose anything, Arjuna. You're going to gain. He's talking about Arjuna's gain. He's not talking about, and that gain is what? Sense gratification there. Heavenly planets is what? Fame in this world is what? My own sense gratification, right? So Krishna was even catering to that and explaining that this, by fighting here, you will actually have fame. Now you see, Arjuna fought for Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Today, 5,000 years later, we are still talking about Arjuna, and it will be spoken till the end of time. You see the fame? What fame would he have had if he ran away from the battlefield? He would be known as a coward until the end of time. So Krishna did not want that for Arjuna, that he would be accused. So the best fame is to be known as a devotee, and that was the subject of that was one of the questions of Ramananda Samvad. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking Ramananda Rai, what is the best fame? Then Ramananda Rai replied that the best fame is to be known as a devotee. So you see, and so that benefit automatically is there for the devotee without him having to seek such benefit. You see, and Swargaloka. What about Swarga? Everything, whole spiritual opulence and material opulence, everything is in the hands of the devotee. And Bilumangal Thakur writes this. We will go there. But my point is, Krishna is saying that by fighting, you will have all the things that you want to enjoy. See that? So Krishna is appeasing, in a way, like Arjuna wanted his own happiness. You see how he is saying. Let's analyze his statement in this verse 136, right? You see, 136. Papameva shrayedasman hatvaitanatatayanah tasman narha vayam hantum dharta rashtran sabandhavan svajanam hi katham hatva sukhinah syama madhava. You see, sukhinah syama madhava. And even the previous verse, 132 to 35, let's just go to that. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? You see, 132, first chapter 32 to 35, especially in the 35th verse. Let's go to the Sanskrit. Api trailokya rajyasya hetoh kim nu mahi krite Nihatya dhartarashtrannah ka pritihi syat janardhan. Where is the priti? Where is the happiness here? So you see, what pleasure will be derived from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? He's thinking about his own pleasure. And the next verse, you see, again, Sukhinasya katham hi swajanam hi katham hatva sukhinasya madhava. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? See again, his point, you see how his focus was? His own sense gratification in the presence of his relatives and friends. He wanted to live a life like that. So if the war will kill them, then he cannot be happy. But he was quoting scripture, this everything will be destroyed, the family traditions will be destroyed, community projects will be destroyed if this killing happens. Would Krishna sit there, want Arjuna to kill and then ruin the world? Did Krishna come for that? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He has come for establishing samsthapan of dharma, religious principles. Would Krishna... So Arjuna should not even have raised the point of, family traditions, religious systems, community projects, everything will be destroyed. He's telling that to Krishna. Krishna came to destroy the religious principles. Why would he sanction it? Why would he sanction the war? So he should have had the confidence in Krishna that Krishna, you came for dharma samsthapanarthaya, so you know what is happening. He should not have even spoken. But it is good that he vocalized his confusions, because now we can understand how a person without Krishna consciousness thinks and how a person who is Krishna consciousness thinks. So, therefore, Krishna actually let it play out. Let Arjuna speak first. Let his ignorance be fully on full display. Let it be on full display. And then, let me address his concerns. You see, Krishna actually is more than eager to get us back to the spiritual world than we are in going back there. Krishna is more eager to bring us back. Even then, he did not immediately say, Krishna, I want you to come back. Arjuna, I want you to come back. You just follow my thing and you come back. I love you so much. No. He said, you want to be happy in this world? You want to go to heaven? Or you want to be known as a person who is cognizant of religious principles? Whichever way you want it, your only way forward then is to fight in this battlefield. And he proved that. And he did not yet say that you have to follow me. He did not say that. You have to follow me. He said that in the 3rd chapter actually. So once he's a little bit established, but then he did not push forward with it yet. He mentioned it once actually. 3:30. See here, he hints at it. Actually, that is the point of the Bhagavad Gita. But then Arjuna was still not ready with full knowledge yet. So you see here, he says, actually this is exactly like almost 1866. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. This is exactly how we are supposed to execute our devotional service. We should not be lethargic. We will become lethargic when we are not interested in something. And when we are interested in gaining something from something, if we have, suppose a businessman, he sees some potential profit in something, and then he will be aggressive and he will be enthusiastic about a certain enterprise. But if he's not seeing any promising market, then he will be, I don't want to do anything about it. So there is lethargy that sets in if my own profit mindset is not satisfied. But here Krishna is saying, free from any desire for profit, and without any claims to proprietorship. If I have no proprietorship, I wouldn't, like, if I'm living in a house which is not my own, why would I take so much effort to, renovate the place? I wouldn't. I would keep it at bare minimum. I wouldn't be interested because I don't own this house. So when there is proprietorship, then there is, ownership, then there is desire to actually act for something, because my self my how to say, my gratification is then justified. I mean, if I do this, I will be gratified. So without desire for profit, without any claim to proprietorship over anything, and at the same time free from lethargy, fight for me. So that takes a different breed of, that takes realization of Krishna consciousness. It's a different breed of people who have no desire for sense gratification, and yet they are not lazy in executing their duty because they want to satisfy Krishna. That's out of love. Like a mother, she's not going to gain anything from the child. The child is not going to give her any profit. The child is not going to pay the mother. The child is, of course, mother's property in that sense. But then she's not going to gain anything. The only thing a mother will have is inconvenience when she's taking care of a very an infant child. But she does so without any lethargy, because out of love. So that is what Krishna is asking him, here, surrendering all your works unto me. And then he hints at it again in the 9th chapter, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhoshi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Offer everything to me again. But finally he says in the 18th chapter, with all the knowledge, after all the knowledge, sarvadharman parityajya. So it looks like Krishna is advocating for many processes here. Like sometimes he talks about karma, sometimes he talks about jnana, sometimes he talks about yoga. But ultimately, and sometimes he talks about bhakti in the Bhagavad Gita. So people are confused sometimes. What is actually Krishna's real intention here? Well, this is real intention. He wants us to surrender unto him and love him. But he did not put forward that proposal right up front. He catered to Arjuna's desire for sense gratification in this world and said, you have to understand you're not the body. Then only you can be happy. Then only you can be very clear in your perspective on what to do and what not to do. Because if I judge from the wrong lens, if I see everything through the wrong lens, defective lens, then I'm not going to have a proper vision of everything. So I have to clarify my vision first with proper understanding on who am I, what am I supposed to do, then everything will be clear. And even if I want heavenly happiness, he says to Arjuna in the 2nd chapter, 31st to 33rd verses, you fight, and if you die on the battlefield, still no loss, you go to heaven. You can enjoy that. And if you win the battle, you can be famous in this world and have an unrivaled kingdom while you're in this world. And after you're gone, you will still be famous. So you see how he's catering to Arjuna. He's appealing to Arjuna's desires for what was driving Arjuna's thought. Although he said, you are speaking learned words, but you're mourning for what is not worthy of grief. The flip side of the coin is, we should not be jubilant also about material things. One should not be jubilant about things that are not worthy of being jubilant about. If the body is not a proper subject to worry about, it should also not be a subject to celebrate about, because it should not be even a matter of concern. It should only be used in the service of the eternal duty that we have, eternal constitutional position that we have, to revive our constitutional position. It should be used as a tool. A carpenter or somebody who's working with his hands, if he has a saw or if he has a hammer, he's not going to be jubilant about the hammer. He's not going to be morose about the hammer. He just uses it to do his job. It's a tool. So our human body similarly is a tool. We cannot be too obsessed with it. If we mourn for a grieving condition of this body, we will also be celebrating about something which is the opposite. I mean, was something which gives us sense gratification. We will celebrate that. But we should not be. That's why it is said, matra sparshastu kaunteya shita ushna sukha dukha daha agama payano nitya tam stitikshasva bharata. We have to tolerate both the distress and the happiness. Tolerating the happiness is even more difficult than tolerating the distress sometimes. Because we don't think of it as tolerance. When there is something distress happens, then okay, you know what, sometimes I question about life. I question what is life, and why all this is happening to me. These things will come to our mind at least. But when we are happy materially, we don't even think. The distraction is so much more intense that it does not even prod us to think about what is actually good for us, what is it throws the perspective even far further away when we are happy. That's why we have to be very cautious about even being jubilant about anything material. That does not mean we become a robot and no feelings. No, we should completely be happy about our spiritual life. That, oh, I have the opportunity to execute Krishna consciousness, and I am actually engaged in Krishna's service. So this is where our pleasure is to be found, is to be sought. Only in the pleasure of Krishna, in the pleasure of the spiritual master should be our pleasure. We should always be the secondary enjoyers, not the primary enjoyers of anything. Krishna enjoys it, and because he is happy, then I am happy. So my pleasure, Anandamaya Abhyasat, we seek pleasure, but we should be secondary enjoyers of anything. That's why, if you go to this verse, Uddhava says, Tvayopabhukta sraggandha vaso lankara charchitaha uchhishta bhojino dasas tava mayam jayemahi. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, Uddhava is saying to Krishna, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. So by being secondary enjoyers of everything, like we have prasadam offered to Krishna, and then we have everything, even our garlands, our fragrant oil. Every morning we have fragrant oil offered to Krishna, and then we take clothes. Actually, anything that we have should be offered to Krishna, and then even when we're in India, that's why when somebody gets a new vehicle, for example, they offer it to Krishna. Even when they get the new clothes, they will offer it at the deity and then have it. So that's the whole point. But we have to use it in Krishna's service. Not that I take the blessing for the vehicle and then use the vehicle to do my sinful activities. What blessing is that? So the whole point is that we offer it to Krishna. This is yours. Let me use it in your service, and let it be perfect in that way. So that is the whole point. Secondary enjoyers. So our enjoyment is contingent on Krishna's enjoyment. So in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness journey, we are confused and we want a solution for our problems. We're not concerned with Krishna yet. We're not interested in Krishna. Our interest in Krishna is only because of he's talking something, he's saying this Bhagavad Gita to solve my problem, and therefore let me be interested in Krishna's words because they might solve my problem. We are interested in Bhagavad Gita with that intention. Either my problem, or he's satisfying my curiosity by explaining to me something which I do not know. So I want to know something. And if he can satisfy my curiosity with a good answer, it will satisfy my intellectual curiosity. Intellectually, my intellectual gratification. I'm reading the books. In the beginning, this is what happens. I can tell you from my own experience. I was reading Prabhupada's books for my own intellectual gratification, not for actually becoming a devotee of Krishna. Never will that be the initial push, unless one is very advanced. Then from very birth, he's favorably inclined towards Krishna. But even though we come with contaminated desires, either for desires for sense gratification for mental gratification, for intellectual gratification, is gratification, sense our own personal gratification. So that's the desire we come to Krishna with. And then we end up, eventually, in the course of our advancement, we mature and understand that, you know what, my intellectual gratification is not what counts, because yes, Krishna kind of satisfies it to an extent. That's why you see in the 10th chapter, Krishna said, among this, I'm that, in this way you can understand me. But what is the use of all this detailed knowledge, Arjuna? With a single fragment, I support the entire creation effortlessly. So, yeah, I have given you some, gratification there intellectually, but be interested in me. Krishna is saying. So he's gently nudging us towards, the ultimate instruction, which is sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up everything else, all other engagements, all other dharmas, give up. Surrender unto me. Even then he said, I will reward you with a complete, what is that? Parole, I would say. Complete mukti, parole. Parole means when a prisoner, when he goes, and then sometimes he's released earlier on parole. Means, okay, you know what, good conduct. You have been good in the prison, and I think you have understood your mistake, and I think there's no point punishing you further, so I'll release you. All your that sentence is absolved. So now you're released. So that's on parole. So Krishna said, you just surrender unto me. Don't worry about anything. I will release you on parole. I'm going to do that. He says the first two lines, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Then Krishna said, I will reward you. How? What is that? Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksheshyami. Sarva Papebhyo. Aprarabdha Phalam Papam Kutam Bijam Phalonmukham Kramena Eva Praliyeta Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam. Vishnu Puran says that any sin that we commit is like a seed sown. So that seed will, develop, germinate, and become a plant and become a tree and bear fruits. And then once the fruit is ripened, then we will face the reaction. So every sin is at different stages of maturity, and once it reaches maturity, we will face the reaction, which is the ripened fruit stage of that activity. Now, all those, at whichever stage it is, when we say sarva papebhyo moksheshyami, it refers to all these different stages of evolution or maturity of the sinful reaction. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami. You will be released from everything. You don't even have to worry about doing anything else, any other atonement or ritual and anything. You don't have to worry about all that. Give up, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam. Just surrender unto me. I will take care of all your sinful reactions. I will absolve you of that and release you on parole. And he is giving double assurance, ma suchaha. Don't worry. Have faith in me. I will do it for you. So, that's the real instruction. That's the ultimate instruction of Bhagavad Gita. So in this way, he is nudging us, in the beginning giving us our own gratification, even giving them the promises of heavenly gratification, in this world, an undisputed kingdom as a promise of gratification. He offered this to Arjuna in the beginning. But he said the means to get there, even if you want that, is to fight, and which is my instruction. But he did not say it is my instruction and you follow my instruction. You just fight, you see, you will get this. But who set up the system of, if you fight in the battlefield and then you go to heaven? Who established that law? Krishna himself. So he is rewarding the duty, the sense of duty. So he set up the system in such a way that duty is rewarded and attachment is punished. So in the beginning, this is how he preached. But now, in today's verse, Arjuna says that, you know what, my confusions are finished. I have no more confusions anymore. Madanugrahaya paramam guhyam adhyatma samgitam yat tvayoktam vachastena mohoyam vigato mama. See, by hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. I am now done with my illusion. I'm completely in knowledge, because in the 10th chapter also, in the 14th verse itself, he says, Sarvametadritam manye yanmam vadasi keshava. Before that, what is that? Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum, Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve, Devarshir Naradas Tatha, Asito Devalo Vyaso, Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. So he's saying that, I am completely clear about this now, that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I have no doubts about it. And he's repeating again here. And he says, Sarvadharma, what is that? Sarvameta Dhritam Manye, Yanmam Vadasi Keshava. He says, whatever you're saying, I will accept it in toto. That means in complete totality, I will accept your whatever you're saying. I have no more doubts. Here also he's saying that. But he then asked to see the universal form. And this is where we can start to think about preaching. A preacher is a second class devotee. This is the next stage of advancement in the one's devotional life. A third class devotee cannot preach because he is not himself clear, and he has not solved the problems of his own life yet, because he has not sufficiently heard yet. He's not sufficiently applied himself to the process of devotional service yet. And therefore, he is in the journey of his own intellectual curiosity, his own sense gratification. So he's called Prakrita Bhakta, a materialistic devotee, because he wants some satisfaction out of it. And then once he actually receives that satisfaction once he becomes more mature in the devotional advancement, he will understand that, this is actually giving me satisfaction, service to Krishna. And that's when he is now happy. He can begin to think about others' unhappiness and how can I make them also happy. Paradukha dukhi. If I am swadukha dukhi, I am worried about my own problems. I have no time. I am consumed by that. So I am not. I have no time to think about other people's problems. But a person who is, free from that, who is happy with himself, then when he sees others, then he will feel pity for them and he will want to help them, because they're suffering. I have received this knowledge and now I'm happy. How can I see them suffering? So that compassion will automatically be awakened in a devotee who is a little more advanced. And this heart of a preacher is based on that self-satisfaction, and then it goes to the next stage, which is, I can't just be satisfied with myself. I can't be so selfish. How can I see them all suffering and I am happy? So it's a complete different thinking, because matsarata, envy, means I want to be happy. And if I win a competition, I'm happy. For example, if you see sports, one team wins, one team loses, or sometimes it's just individuals, like a fight, maybe a boxing match or something. One person wins, another person loses. So finally he gives him the knockout punch and the guy falls on the floor unconscious, and this guy, he's celebrating. Parasukha dukhi, paradukha sukhi. He is suffering, I am enjoying. This is material world. In the animal kingdom, one animal has to die for the satisfaction of another animal, for the satisfaction of the tongue of another animal. So if if the lion's belly has to be full, one of the animals have to give their life for it. So paradukha sukhi. His unhappiness is my happiness. And if he is happy, I am unhappy. This is matsarata, envy. But paradukha dukhi, parasukha sukhi, that is a Vaishnav. So he cannot see others. So nirmatsaranam satam. A Vaishnav is not envious. He wants everybody to be happy. So all the good qualities automatically come as he matures in his devotional service, and he begins to think about others. And this heart of a preacher is perfectly summarized in this verse by Prahlad Maharaj, 743 and 44. See? नैवोद्विजे परदुरत्ययवैतरण्यास् त्वद्वीर्यगायनमहामृतमग्नचित्तः. You see the first two lines? Naiva udvije paraduratyaya. I'm not worried at all about this material world because I'm happy. Tvadvirya mahamritamagnachitta. I'm always chanting your glories. I'm immersed in those topics and I've no care in this material world. I'm completely happy. Once he's there, you see, Naivodvije paraduratyaya vaitaranyas tvadvirya gayana mahamritamagnachittah. Shoche tato vimukhachetas indriyartha maya sukhaya bharamudvahato vimudhan. See, Shoche means what? He is sad. I'm simply lamenting. You see, that Bhagavad Gita verse, what did it say? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. So a person who is spiritually situated, he has no shochati, he has no kankshati, he has no hankering, he has no lamentation. But Prahlad Maharaj is lamenting here. Why? He's not lamenting for himself. He said, you see, O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence. For wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. Why am I not afraid of this material? Because I am engaged in your service. I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. So, in other words, if you're always absorbed in Krishna, we don't need to be afraid of this material world. It will be completely powerless. Maya, she will be completely powerless to attack us if we are engaged in Krishna's service. One moment of inattention in that service, Maya will slap, hard slap. That's what I mean in the again coming back to the analogy of the boxing match. And world-class level boxing, both of them are very good fighters. And their defense is very impregnable defense. So while they're fighting, they trick, so the boxer kind of faints. He comes as if he's hitting the lower part of the body, but then he actually hits the top. So they do a lot of trickery. They make you come. They act like they're a little bit. I mean, they don't act means like a big show. They give indications that they're a little bit lacking in defense, so the other person takes advantage and becomes a little bit reckless, and goes a bit too much in with the power, and then he comes too close and then one knockout punch. So there's a lot of trickery involved, a lot of looking out for loopholes. One loophole, one moment of inattention, and that's it. That's all a boxer needs to knock the other person out. Because otherwise, both are very strong, fully muscular, fully trained. How is one person getting knocked out for the other? Because inattention, complete destruction. I mean, look at it while we're driving on the road. A moment of inattention is enough to completely change the course of the day. Instead of going to the destination and doing something happy, I can be dead, or I can be, paralyzed for life. My near and dear may be killed. other people in the road may be killed, the situation can turn within a split second. What caused it? Inattention. Inattention leads to disaster. Inattention doesn't look like much, but it leads to disaster in the end, and sometimes even immediately. So we have to be very attentive devotional life. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, because I'm fully absorbed, not like gaps. I am absorbed, but I have some gaps, I have some breaks from my absorption. I take a lunch break, I take a फिर मिलेंगे break के बाद, that kind of things are not there. Always with Krishna. So that's why I'm not at all afraid. So I am safe. I know I'm safe. I'm not confident with myself. This is not a statement of pride. This is a statement of humility. He says, I'm not at all afraid. It looks like, oh wow, that's a statement of pride. How can you say I'm not afraid? And like, what is that attitude? No, it is actually full of humility, because the confidence is not in himself at all. He's saying the reason for his lack of fear is I'm always absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. Abhaya Charanaravindare. Abhaya Charanaravindare means, that Bhajahuremana Srinandanandana Abhaya Charanaravindare. So Krishna is the giver, the bestower of fearlessness, Abhayam. So that's why he is not afraid on Krishna's strength, not on his own. This is complete humility actually. So that's his position. My concern, he says, is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. This is a burden. I am simply concerned with love for them. So this is the heart of a preacher. And therefore, next verse, he goes even further, saying, Prayena deva munaya svavimukti kama maunam charanti vijanena pararthanishthah naitan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha eko nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmatonupashye. You see? Svavimukti kama. You see how he called them. Svavimukti kama. Let's see the word to word. You see, Deva Munayaha. Munayaha, the great saintly sages, Svavimukti kama, ambitious for their own personal liberation from this material world. Maunam charanti, they wander in the places like the Himalayan forests where they have no touch with the activities of the materialists. Vijane, in solitary places. Jana means people. Vijane means no people. Na pararthanishtaha. They are not interested in working for others. Nishthaha. Para artha nishtha. Nishtha means fixed up. Devotee is parartha nishtha. He is fixed in the goal of helping others. Para artha, not para anartha. Sometimes help is considered when charitably disposed people, sometimes philanthropic people, they give to others. They're thinking it is compassion, but they give para anartha. Para means to others. Paropakar, upakar means to help, not apakar. Apakar means to do something detrimental for them. Artha means the purpose of life. Para artha nishthaha. So the preacher is a parartha nishthaha. He is paradukha dukhi. So para artha, the goal of human life of others, the goal of life of others, which is to go back to Vishnu. What is that? Nate vidu swarthagatim hi Vishnu. 7.5.30. Prahlad Maharaj again says, Nate viduhu swarthagatim hi Vishnu. They do not know, nate viduhu means they do not know, the materialists do not know that swarthagatim hi Vishnu. Their real self-interest is to actually serve Vishnu or Krishna. Because with that comes every other benefit that they are seeking for eternity and much, much more. But they are wanting paltry happiness in this material world, flickering happiness in this material world, which is for sure going to be destroyed. Because as sure as death, the most sure thing that is going to happen is death. And at that time, everything is going to be taken away from them. So it's futile working for this. So nate vidu swarthagatim hi Vishnu. So para artha, their own swartha is for a devotee is para artha, their goal of life. Nishthaha, a devotee is parartha nishthaha, interested in working for others by giving them the benefit of the Krishna consciousness movement. Nishtha means he's fixed on that purpose. I must help others. They don't like me helping, never mind, I must still help. I will tolerate whatever comes my way, even though they are attacking me, I will still help them. Like even in Christianity, this is kind of preached. You know, they say, bless those who curse you. You know, it's a very nice thing, and that's what Jesus did also, right? He was being crucified on the, not just cursed, he was crucified. Cursed is just with words, physically crucified, and still he was praying to the Lord, oh Lord, please forgive them, they do not know what they're doing. See, that is Vaishnav. Pararthanishtaha. Even at complete inconvenience, he was being crucified on the cross, and still he was saying, Pararthanishta, please forgive them. I don't care what is happening to me, forgive them. He did not even say, I don't care what is happening to me. He just said, forgive them. He was thinking of them. Pararthanishta. This is where the mood of service comes. Nishtha. At the cost of one's, life or anything, we must be willing to help others. This is called karunika. Pararthanishta is karunika. But para anarthanishta, so this is very important. These so-called philanthropists, they are giving them anarthas. They're giving them some, materialistic education. They think that will save them. Oh, let me open some schools. We're not against opening schools. But in those schools, teach about Krishna consciousness. Teach all those subjects. We are studying in Bhagavatam all kinds of subjects. Politics, sociology, geography, biology, psychology. Every department that is there in the university. Technology. We are talking about technology. I mean, people used aeroplanes and, they created planets, and Kardama Muni, when he went on an aeroplane. We are studying all these things. Ayurveda, biology or medicine, all these things are there in our Vedas, and especially in the Srimad Bhagavatam. All these topics are there. But with Krishna in the center, that kind of school is proper artha. But a school, a situation, an educational system which systematically takes you away from God, that is a complete, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Amanda Udayadaya. Amanda Udaya. Pararthanishta is Amanda Udayadaya. That means mercy that does not give rise to bad effects, ill effects. Whereas this mercy of the so-called philanthropist of opening a school, for example, or distributing food, which is meat, for example, or anything, even vegetarian food without prasadam, for example. Anything the materialists want to help others with, or giving some money in charity to somebody. And what does that person use that money for? If the person's life is full of sin, by you giving the money, you are actually facilitating his sinful life. Yeah, it may give him some comfort, but with that comfort, what is he going to do? If his food is meat, and if you're just going to give him some money because he doesn't have money, homeless or whatever, and then he's going to eat meat with that, or if he's going to intoxicate himself with that, or feed his family. It looks like, oh, I'm feeding the family, I'm giving the money. But if he feeds the family with meat, he's going to commit sin with that. And you're facilitating the sin. So, This is called Mandodaya Daya. Manda Udaya Daya. Udaya means gives rise to. Udaya, Suryodaya. Suryodaya means the rising of the sun. Udaya means rising, gives rise to. Manda. Manda means bad. It gives rise to bad effects, bad results. Amanda Udayadaya means the mercy which actually gives the best thing without any bad effects, all good effects and no bad. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy and his representatives who follow his footsteps, who in his disciplic succession, his bona fide devotees, they provide Amandodayadaya, and that is called Pararthanishtaha. But if I give them anarthas, by giving them, not exposing them to God consciousness and keeping them in the materialistic mindset, and in fact fueling those materialistic mindsets. Oh, you want to become a chef? Okay, I will kind of mentor you. I will give you facility, and so that you can become a good chef. No. You learn first of all that you cannot cook meat. Teach him the values first, and then let him become a chef of Krishna. Let him cook prasadam in the temple. Why you want to become a chef somewhere else? And even if you become, you have to distribute prasadam there. You can have your own restaurant if that's what you want to do. But then cook only prasadam. Cook and offer to Krishna, and then you can, like Prabhupada also got some of his devotees to start Govinda's restaurant in some Western countries. So that's a spiritual enterprise because there is prasadam now. So everything has to be Krishnaized. So we cannot just facilitate their own sense gratification and call it philanthropy. Oh, I helped somebody. No, that is not parartha nishtha. That is not paropakar. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what is that? Bharata bhumita manusha janma hoilo jar, janma saarthaka kori. Saarthaka, that means sarthak. Sarthak means what? To make our own life successful. What is successful? Saarthaka. Artha means, again, it's not anartha. Sanarthaka kori. No, he did not say that. Not fill our life with anarthas. No. Anartha nivritti syat. Bhajana kriya anartha nivritti syat. Tato nishtha. So that anarthas, all the bad things, all the material attachments, these things must go. Artha, give them artha. Parartha nishtha. So the people, he is condemning, Prahlad Maharaj here, the heart of a preacher. He is condemning even those great souls who are, solitarily working for their own liberation. He does not have very high regard for them. He says, they are sadhus, whatever, but they are not good yet because they are very selfish. That means that person has not even come to the second class platform. Madhyamadhikar, he has not come. First of all, maybe he's not even interested in Krishna consciousness. Maybe he's interested in his own deliverance, Mayavad, or whatever, yogic perfections, or whichever way it is. So the second class devotee is the beginning of a perfect behavior. His behavior, the behavior of a second class devotee, is the beginning of perfect behavior in society. The third class devotee is still he's still better than any materialist. At least he is, he is in the process of janma sarthaka kori. Then karo paropakar. If I myself do not know what is actually good for me, how I know what is good for others? Because there is only one thing good. It's not that, this is good for me, but that is good for others. No. We all are servants of Krishna. Jivar Swarup hoy Krishnera Nitya Das. Mamayvamsu Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatana. Eternally, our position is to be his servant. And that is the only thing that will give happiness to everyone. They can use their own talents. They can be their individual selves and still serve Krishna and become actually happy. Make their whatever gifts they have, whatever they have been gifted with by God, by Krishna, they can use that in Krishna's service. But the point should be Krishna's service. Service can be multifaried service. multifarious, service opportunities or avenues. But this point should be service. Krishnartha Akhila Cheshta. So Pararthanishtha. But these people are Napararthanishtha. They are not fixed in helping others at all. Na etan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha eko nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmato nupashya. Okay, so let's read the translation. My dear Lord Narasimhadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are not interested only in, they are interested, but they are interested only in their own deliverance. Not caring for the big cities and towns, they go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, Maunavrata. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet. Look at the parallel between this statement of Prahlad and today's Arjuna statement, where he's saying, I have no more doubts. Actually, next verse is the one. Actually, let's just have a cursory look at the next verse, 11.2 and 11.3, which Prabhupada already mentioned in the purport of today's verse. But let's just go there and see. See, Bhavapyayau hi bhutanam shrutau vistarasho maya tvattah kamala patraksha mahatmyam api chavyayam. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, and I have realized your inexhaustible glories. So you see, next verse is still saying this. Evam etad yathathatvam atmanam parameshwara drashtumichhami te rupam aishwaram purushottama. This is an important word, aishwaram. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. And this desire to see this Virat Rupa is not a personal desire of Arjuna, but it is his behavior as a preacher, because he wants to establish Krishna's supremacy. So, because in the future there will be so many cheaters who will come and say, I am God. Okay, then you show your Virat Rupa. So he is establishing here Krishna as the supreme. So he is not leaving any room for cheating. So, because I can say also all these things of Krishna, say, oh, surrender unto me, I will take care of all your sinful reactions. I can say all these things, but can I show it? So that showing is this Virat Rupa, and Krishna has showed. So if I say I'm God, I have to show. If I cannot show it, I should shut up. Prabhupada said, whoever says I am God, he is dog. Immediately he is dog, worse than dog. Even dog also does not say that. So that should be our thing. Very immediately, sharp retort. Immediately cut him down. Finish. So Arjuna is wanting to establish Krishna's supremacy. And that's why Aishwaram, I want to see, you see, Aishwaram, divine. Actually, Aishwaram means opulence as well. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasya shriya jnana vairagyaschaiva shannam bhaga itingana. Shadaishwarya purna. Shadaishwarya purna means fully laden with 6 opulences. Krishna. What is that 6 opulences? Aishwaryasya, this wealth, samagrasya viryasya strength, yashasya fame, Shriya beauty, Jnana knowledge, Vairagya means renunciation. All these 6 things Krishna has in infinite quantity. So we need to see, especially in this material world, Prabhupada made a very pertinent point once. He said, we can actually discuss Harikatha, Krishna Katha under the tree. But if we discuss like that, the people will not come. People come when there is some display of opulence, where there is a big temple. There is a, some, like even here, Singapore, our temple is part of a building complex. So it's not like a standalone building on its own. So it does not have the full shape of a temple, like Gopuram and all these things, the spire and everything. We don't have that. And most of the foreign countries, it's quite kind of common, our Krishna consciousness movement. So Indians, when they come, where is Krishna temple? And when they come here, they see it's a building. What is this? They don't identify it with the temple. They identify temple with a grand structure, because in India that's how it is, because it has been a dharmic culture for many thousands of years, millions of years. So there it is very much possible. Here, sometimes it is possible, yes. There are actually other temples, Shiva's temple, Vishnu's temple, there are. But again, it's not in the parampara system. So anyway, they have that as the idea of what a temple is. But actually, Lord Vishnu himself says that Naham Tisthami Vaikunthe. I am not in Vaikuntha. Of course, he's there in Vaikuntha, but what he means is my attachment is not to a place, a location on Google Maps. Oh, in the Vaikuntha, or I'm in the temple, which is the embassy of Vaikuntha. There's a structure with a Gopuram, and that's where I reside. Because some of the nowadays, modern historians, Indian so-called Sanatan Dharma historians, try to revive the Indian culture or some faith in Sanatan Dharma. But because they're not properly informed about the Shastric philosophical side of our philosophy, they are trying to say that the form in the temple, the Archa Vigraha, the deity is very powerful because it is, the temple is constructed with a certain architectural, thing, and that invites that what is that kind of absorbs the cosmic energy, the infinite cosmic energy into that deity form. And that's why above the deity there is that whole Gopuram, and below the deity also there is below there is a whole setup. Before the installation of the deity there is ritual that is done. So these are all, so the above and below, it's the situation is made conducive for the divinity. They use all these words, vague words, the divinity to be channeled into that form there in that location. And that's the vertical aspect of the deity, and then the devotee comes with the horizontal aspect from here. And then this was one of the explanation of one of the historians, and that is the exchange of feelings between the divinity and the humanity. The vertical aspect and the horizontal aspect. This is what a temple is. That's why a temple has this energy around it, and one feels the peace, the tranquility in a temple structure. No. Let's hear from Lord Vishnu what he's saying. He is saying to Narada that Naham Tisthami Vaikunthe. I am not attached to Vaikuntha. I'm not there. Naham Yoginam Hridayeshuva. Yogis are trying to meditate. I'm not really there. I'm not really interested. Tatra Tisthami Narada. I am there. Yatra Gayanti Madbhaktaha. Where my devotees are glorifying me, discussing about me, chanting my name, that's where I am. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never constructed any temple. He preached. Wherever he went, he preached. Of course, Rupa Goswami also wrote books according to the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but when there was the Maharaj Man Singh who wanted to do some service, okay, you build a temple, grand temple, so people can come and worship the Lord, and there can be facility for people to congregate and learn more about Krishna. So our center of the temple is not even the deity is there for sure. He is the owner of the temple and everything, but service to the deity in the company of the devotees. That's what makes the temple alive. Otherwise, it will be a dead temple. Prabhupada said, if there is no Shravan Kirtan process, it is a dead temple. So, all this energy, geography, all this Vastu, Shastra, and that's what will cause Krishna to be, or any form of the demigod or god to exist there. It's those geometric shapes, it's those physical aspects, that channels the divinity into that deity. That's all rubbish. Rubbish. Of course, there is, then you may ask, then why there is all this Vastu Shastra and all this, Well, there are ideal architectural structures, and of course, it has, Vastu has its own energy um, flow aspects and everything. All those are, we are not denying all of that. But what we are saying is that's not what channels the Lord to come. That does not oblige the Lord to come there and sit in the deity form. No. He is bhavagrahi. If we have bhava, he will be, even if we are under the tree, he will accept our service anywhere. So we should understand that he is actually a person. He is not obliged by these, something, some measurements and this. And he is not. He does not care a fig for that. He cares about, especially Krishna. He cares about our devotion. Yes, do we construct a nice temple? Of course we should. If possible, yes, we should. Otherwise, doesn't it? Prabhupada bought so many churches in the West and made them into temples. Old churches which are not in use, he bought them and they were used as temples. So he did not mind too much about. Of course, there was some consideration of Vastu and astrology here and there, but that's not the main concern. Aishwaram. My point is Aishwaram. Prabhupada was saying that if I discuss Krishna Katha under a tree, you're not going to come. To make you come, we are building this nice temple. And of course, serving the Lord there, and then let you come, and then you appreciate the temple structure, you appreciate this. I think the hearing will be the last thing that they will appreciate. Eventually, they will appreciate the prasadam, they'll appreciate the surroundings or whatever, or we do some, something. All these are Aishwaryam. When there is a display of Aishwaryam, people are usually attracted to that Aishwaryam first. Then only their attraction to Krishna eventually develops. It's to the things around Krishna that actually will initially pique their interest, pique their curiosity, pique their affinity towards that temple. Oh, there's a beautiful temple that came up, it's a very beautiful inside, outside. These things are the ones that catch people's eyes and hearts. Aishwaryam. If there's a lackluster structure, but there is a very nice katha going on, Krishna katha, they are not so interested in that first. Just like, the Bhagavad Gita is 700 verses, but Vyasadeva had to encapsulate that foremost of conversations in 100,000 verses of Mahabharata, because people are not interested in that real core subject matter. They're interested in everything else around it. The politics, the sports, the warfare, the drama that happens. All these things that people are interested in. So Vyasadeva catered to that in a way by encapsulating, by giving all of that, but then drawing them to the Bhagavad Gita. It's like giving a bait, fishing. They give a bait in a hook, they give some bait, and then the fish will take it, and then the fish is extracted from there. Of course, that is a very ruthless thing. But here, the bait is the seeming interesting topics, worldly topics, but actually, it's the original topic of the Bhagavad Gita that's the real medicine. It's encapsulated in this 100,000 verses to encapsulate 700 verses. 99,300 verses are just the covering. Of course, there are other Bhishma Parva. Bhishma also spoke so many instructions. But Krishna speaking the Bhagavad Gita is at the core. But 99,300 verses to deliver the 700 verses payload. If you want to talk in terms of astronomical, space mission, they call it a payload. The payload, the satellite or whatever they want to put it in the space, the payload is a little bit, but to send the payload, the whole rocket system is the majority of the bulk of the rocket is the delivery system. The payload, the actual thing that needs to be put there is a small thing. But to get it there, there's a huge chunk of the rocket which takes up 80%, maybe. I don't know how much. I'm not very expert at this. Let's say if arbitrarily 80% is the delivery load, I mean delivery mechanism, and the 20% is the payload, which actually is the subject matter to be. So the payload here is the Bhagavad Gita. The delivery mechanism, if you take the ratio, let's see, 700 over 100,000. What is that? What percentage is that? Let's calculate. Mandabuddhi, I cannot calculate. 0.7%. I don't know if you can see that. 0.7% of the entire Mahabharata is the Bhagavad Gita. 99.3% is payload, I mean delivery mechanism. So you see how Aishwaryam attracts people, but eventually Krishna is the core, and it's Krishna's Aishwaryam anyway, it's divine opulences of Krishna. So eventually the interest will be on Krishna. That's the whole point. It has to come to that. That's the heart of a preacher. And in this regard, I want to show you another verse. The heart of a preacher. We actually put it in our Why Worship Only Krishna book. So the context of this is this the one? So you see, 1072.5. The context here is Yudhisthira Maharaj wanted to perform a Rajasuya sacrifice. And one would ask, why would he be interested in a Rajasuya sacrifice, a Karmakandiya ritual, when he's a devotee, when he's a pure devotee? Actually, he was not interested. So the real reason why he wanted to do this, and actually maybe we'll go to the first 5 verses. I mean, this 1072.5, we put it in as the invocation verse for the Why Worship Only Krishna, because it perfectly encapsulates the reason why we're doing that book, and that was our prayer to the Lord. 1. Okay. First 2 verses of the 10th canto, 72nd chapter. Let's see. Let's go to the translation. Shukadeva Goswami said, one day, as King Yudhishthira sat in the royal assembly surrounded by eminent sages, brahmanas, kshatriyas and vaishyas, and also by his brothers, spiritual masters, family elders, blood relations, in-laws and friends, he addressed Lord Krishna as everyone listened. Okay? What did he do? So you see, he was king, he was undisputed, and everyone was under him. He was not satisfied with that. He wanted to see how he can leverage that position now to preach. You see, Sri Yudhisthira Vacha Kraturajena Govinda Rajasuyena Pavanihi Yakshe Vibhutir Bhavatas Tatsam Badaya Nah Prabho. Sri Yudhishthira said, O Govinda, I desire to worship your auspicious opulent expansions by the Rajasuya sacrifice, the king of Vedic ceremonies. Please make our endeavor a success, my Lord. Looks like he's asking the Lord for making his own endeavor, Karmakandiya ritual of Rajasuya sacrifice, a success. But look at this. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami states that the word Vibhuti refers to Lord Krishna's expansions, Amshan, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further explains that here the word Vibhuti refers to Lord Krishna's opulent expansions within the world, such as the demigods and other empowered beings. Thus, Srila Prabhupada treats this verse as follows in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the Krishna book, as follows. My dear Lord Krishna, the sacrifice known as the Rajasuya Yajna is to be performed by the emperor, and it is considered to be the king of all sacrifices. By performing this sacrifice, I wish to satisfy all the demigods who are your empowered representatives within this material world, and I wish that you will kindly help me in this great venture so that it may be successfully executed. Looks like he's asking Krishna to help him worship the demigods. Why? So let's see. As far as the Pandavas are concerned, we have nothing to ask from the demigods. We are personally fully satisfied to be your devotees. As you say in the Bhagavad Gita, persons bewildered by material desires worship the demigods. But my purpose is different. I want to perform this Rajasuya sacrifice and invite the demigods to show that they have no power independent of you. I want to preach to the demigods. Who do they think they are? He is not just being a king and wants to preach to his citizens. He wanted to preach to the demigods themselves. I want to perform this Rajasuya sacrifice. Of course, he wanted to preach to his people also, to the people of the world, to all the kings, to all the sages. See, he is a pure devotee. Any other sage or demigod is lower than him because a pure devotee is higher than even the demigods. Because he's a pure devotee. A demigod is not a pure devotee yet. He's an exalted devotee, but not a pure devotee yet. Yudhisthira Maharaj was a pure devotee. Krishna was personally sitting in his courtroom. And he was, let's come back here. Let's see this verse. 1:16, right? I think. Yeah. Sarathya parashada sevana sakhya dautya virasananugamanastavana pranaman snigdheshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha vishnor bhaktim karoti nirpatish charanaravinde. Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna or Vishnu, who is universally obeyed, that means even the demigods obey him. Shiva and Brahma obey him. Shiva Virinchinutam. Okay, they pay their obeisances to him. So he is universally obeyed. That overlord Krishna rendered all kinds of service to the malleable sons of Pandu. Malleable means they're easily, malleable metal means easily you can bend it, like aluminium, for example. So devotees is always malleable to the desire of Krishna. He will accept hellish residence, heavenly residence, Swargapavarga tulyeshu Swargapavarga narakeshu api tulyartha darshina. He will do anything for devotee. For Krishna. Anything. So he is very malleable. Always going according to Krishna's desire. He rendered, so because the devotees are so malleable, Krishna becomes malleable to the devotees. So Krishna, who is universally obeyed by the greatest of the demigods, rendered all kinds of service to the malleable sons of Pandu by accepting posts ranging from chariot driver to president to messenger, friend, night watchman, etc., according to the will of the Pandavas, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisances like one younger in years, especially Yudhisthira Maharaj. Krishna used to pay obeisances to Yudhisthira Maharaj. Shiva and Brahma are paying obeisances to Krishna, Shiva Virinchinutam, and Krishna is Yudhisthira Nutam. Krishna is paying obeisances to Yudhisthira Maharaj. Imagine the position of Yudhisthira Maharaj. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. How beautiful. So this was Yudhisthira Maharaj's position. Okay. Now let's go back there. So he is saying, we are fully satisfied to be your devotees, but I want to perform this Rajasuya sacrifice and invite the demigods to show that they have no power independent of you. If they at all have this slight mentality that they are thinking independent, they are, them overlord, they're trying to test you, I want to nullify their pride. Heart of a preacher. He wants to show, and because Rajasuya sacrifice involves extraordinary opulence, Aishwaryam, again the point Aishwaryam is very important here. Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna said, you show me your opulence, Aishwaryam, by showing your universal form. And Krishna showed that. The wonderful, opulent, universal form. All the opulences of the universe he could see there, Arjuna. So, the display of opulence will arrest the mind of the novice. novice means a starter in spiritual life, he will be attracted or arrested by that. Whoa, this is wonderful. It arrests his consciousness, it arrests his attention, because his attention is so fleeting, he's so flickering that he does not pay enough attention to the Lord. So when there is opulence, oh, this is something, which is very worthy of my attention, he thinks. And that's what Arjuna wanted. And he wanted to seal the position of Krishna, where that's it, nobody else can come and claim that he is God. I want to unequivocally establish that Krishna is the supreme. And therefore, Krishna, please show me your universal form, so that in the future, anybody who says this nonsense that I'm God, I'm not going to allow them. So it's that mood of a preacher where he wants to glorify Krishna for the benefit of everyone. His doubts are removed, but he wants to remove the doubts for others. Because there will be cheaters and there will be innocent people who will be carried away. So he don't want to give them a chance to be carried away. And therefore, Krishna, show your opulence and show that nobody can show opulence like you. Like sometimes incarnations of gods, they show some gold ring coming out of their mouth, or some stone coming out of their mouth, or something. Krishna, Prabhupada said, is the owner of unlimited gold mines, not only on this planet but on all the planets of the universe. Why this small gold ring? We don't want this kind of cheap god. Gold ring only? No. We are interested in gold mines. Interested in the God who owns gold mines. That God we want. His opulence. That kind of opulent God we want. We don't want this Daridra Narayan. We want the real Sri Narayan, who is with Sri. Sri means Lakshmi. Who is the owner of the goddess of fortune, husband of the goddess of fortune, master of the goddess of fortune. I want to worship that God. Not this Daridra Narayan, who is Daridra, who is a beggar, who does not know anything, who does not have anything, and he is now Narayan. No, we don't want Daridra Narayan, rascal Narayans. We want the real Narayan, the Sri Narayan. So, opulence, Aishwaryam, Shadaishwarya Purna. So, just as Arjuna wanted Krishna to show his supremacy, Yudhisthira Maharaj's thing is the same thing, because Rajasuya sacrifice is an opulent sacrifice by an undisputed king, and he wanted to invite not just the kings of other places of this planet, but even invite the demigods and sages from other planets. He was that well known. His fame was not simply some, a well-known king on this planet. No. He was known all over the universe. Forget about Maharaj Yudhisthira. His grandson Parikshit Maharaj, when he was cursed and to die in 7 days, he sat on the bank of the Ganga. Shukadeva Goswami came. Sages from all over the universe came to hear, because they heard the news that Parikshit Maharaj is cursed and he has only 7 days and he's going to hear Bhagavatam. Okay, they all came there from different parts of the universe. Parikshit Maharaj was known. Shukadeva Goswami was known. Yudhishthira Maharaj was similarly, and all of them are pure devotees. This is the meaning of when we in the morning we sing Ebe Jasha Ghushuk Tribhuvana. Your fame is spread all over the 3 worlds. A pure devotee is known not only in this world and in our realm, but he is known even more emphatically in the cities of the demigods. Because the demigods are aware of each one of us. The Yamaraj, how Yamaraj knows our past sinful activities, how he is punishing. That means he knows every single one of us. Why he will not know a pure devotee, who especially came on the order of the Lord and who is actually delivering others? They immediately recognize him. This is the meaning. That's why we should not ever think that a pure devotee is just known on this planet. And he is forever known in all the planets. Ebe Jasha Ghushuk Tribhuvana. He is known all over the universe. The demigods are fully aware of a presence of a pure devotee. Even though ordinary people of this world may not know. In future, of course, it will come to be known by historians that this movement is the only saving grace that really saved the civilization at its darkest hour. Prabhupada said this. Prabhupada already made the prediction that in the future, a time will come when historians and all the leading personalities in the world and all the world will accept that this movement has saved humanity at its darkest hour. And who made it possible? Prabhupada. So even though in this world, at this present moment, he is known very widely, but not as widely as we would like him to be known. We want every person, every leader of the world to be knowing Prabhupada and following his instructions. That's what we want. But it's not there yet. Nevertheless, in the cities of the demigods, in the dwellings of the demigods, in the planets of the demigods, he is very well known. At least all the demigods, they know that Prabhupada came here and saved this earth. It's just a matter of time when all the results will fructify and the whole glory of the movement will be in full display. So that is going to happen for sure. But this is the thing. Sarvadeva Mayo Guru. The Guru is the representative of all the demigods. That is the position of the Guru. So here, you see what Yudhisthira Maharaj is saying. But my purpose is different. I want to perform this Rajasuya sacrifice and invite the demigods to show that they have no power independent of you, that they're all your servants, and you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I want to establish this beyond the shadow of a doubt. Foolish persons with a poor fund of knowledge consider your lordship an ordinary human being. Sometimes they try to find fault in you, and sometimes they defame you. Therefore, I wish to perform this Rajasuya Yajna. I wish to invite all the demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other exalted chiefs of the heavenly planets. And in that great assembly of demigods from all parts of the universe, I want to substantiate that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that everyone is your servant. See how Prabhupada wrote, this is the heart of a preacher. This is verily the heart of a preacher. If he has an opportunity, he will go the extra. He is the king, already an emperor. No, not enough. I want to perform Rajasuya sacrifice. And because it will attract the attention of everyone, let everyone come for the Aishwaryam and let me introduce the owner of all that Aishwaryam, which are you, Krishna, who are Shadaishwarya Purna. You are the undisputed Supreme Personality of Godhead and no one can come close. Asamaurdhva. I can't take it that you are being defamed. I can't take it that you are being ridiculed. No, I don't want that. I want you to be established and known and accepted by everyone. So that is the heart of a preacher. His love for the Lord is exhibited by his desire to glorify the Lord. And his compassion for the people in general is also done in that same activity of glorifying the Lord. Because in that way, people will be informed of the supremacy of Krishna, and that is called Pararthanishtaha. Nate Vidu Swarthagatim hi Vishnu. They do not know that their real self-interest is Vishnu. So let me introduce their real self-interest as Vishnu. Let me introduce Vishnu as their real self-interest and let their lives become successful. So the compassion to others and his expression of love for the Lord and his friendship with the devotees and neglect of the envious. In fact, neglect of the envious, in fact, he wants to induce the envious also to kind of prove to even them that you are the Supreme. He even takes the risk of, agitating the envious. That's how compassionate a devotee is. He wants to help even the envious rascals. Although the general rule is that we should not preach to them, but he wants to establish, not preach to them directly, but establish so that they have no choice but to, you know what, I have to accept. So indirectly, eventually they will accept. So this is the heart of a preacher. So in the next verse, he says, what did he say? Purified persons who constantly serve, meditate upon, and glorify your shoes, which destroy everything inauspicious, are sure to obtain freedom from material existence, O lotus-naveled one. Even if they desire something in this world, they obtain it, whereas others, those who do not take shelter of you, are never satisfied, O Lord. So, you see, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti similarly explains King Yudhisthira's statement. We feel no great urgency to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, nor do we have any personal interest, since we are already seeing your lotus feet and by your boundless mercy have been taken into your personal association. But in this world, there are some whose hearts are contaminated and who thus think you are not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but an ordinary human being. Or else they find fault with you and even criticize you. This is an arrow piercing our hearts. This is the statement of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He's interpreting these verses of Yudhisthira Maharaj, and giving them the full meaning, like just like Prabhupada has mentioned there. He's saying, you see, or else they find fault with you and even criticize you. This is an arrow piercing our hearts. Therefore, to extract this arrow from our heart, we must call to this place on the pretext of the Rajasuya, Brahma, Rudra, and other wise brahmacharis and demigods who reside in each of the 14 planetary systems. When such an exalted congregation has assembled, it will be incumbent upon them to first arrange for the Agra Puja because they have to do it. In such an assembly, the most exalted person is worshipped first. So that is called the Agra Puja. It will be incumbent upon them to first arrange for the Agra Puja, or the first worship, for the most worthy person present. And when they are directly shown that you, Lord Krishna, are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the arrow piercing our heart will be removed. How beautiful, right? So this is the heart of a preacher. He wants to see Krishna glorified. Now, here he's saying, you see, we don't have any personal urgency, but in this world there are some whose hearts are contaminated, he says here. But today in Kali Yuga, there are not some, there are 99.99% are people whose hearts are contaminated and who does think that Krishna is just not a human being, or he may be a little bit great, one of the demigods. All these are insults to Krishna. All of these are insults. That's why a devotee cannot hear this word that, oh, Shiva and Krishna, Shiva and Brahma and Krishna all are same. No, he cannot hear this. It's an insult to Krishna. Because what is Krishna's position compared to the demigods? Like King Kulashekar says in the पृथ्वीरेणुरनुपयांसि कणिकाः फल्गुस्फुलिङ्गो लघुस्तेजो निःश्वसनं मरुत्तनुतरं रन्ध्रं सुसूक्ष्मं नभा क्षुद्रा रुद्रपितामह प्रभृतयः कीटाः समस्ताः सुरा दृष्टे यत्र स तारको विजयते श्रीपादधूलिकणाः क्षुद्रा रुद्र पितामह प्रभृतयः कीटाः समस्ताः सुरा. Okay, we will just read that part. Great lords like Rudra and grandfather Brahma become insignificant, and all the demigods become like small insects. Insects compared to the Lord. So how can we say, oh, Shiva is greater than, oh, same as Krishna, or Brahma same as Krishna? No. Or Indra same as Krishna, or Ganesh, Lakshmi, Durga, all are same as Krishna. I am comparing an insect to the Supreme Lord. What is that? So it's an insult to call the Supreme Lord an insect, or equal with an insect. Because, what is that? Yastvindra mahosva karma bandhanurupa phalabhajanamatanoti. So you see, yastu indragopam athavendra athava indra. What is that? Yastvindragopam athavendra mahosva karma bandhanurupa phalam bhajanamatanoti. From Indragopa insect, which is a red color insect, small insect, in fact, it's some kind of a beetle kind of insect, small one. Indragopa. I actually once searched what is Indragopa insect. So from Indragopa insect to Indra, Yastvindragopa Mathavendra Mahosva Karma Bandhanu. All are bound up by Swakarma Bandhanu Rupa Phalam. Their own reactions to their karma, they're all bound by them. Karmani nirdahati kintu sa bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajam. They can get out of their bandha, karma bandhana, by engaging in your service, Govinda. So how can they be equal to you? They cannot. To call Indra equal to Krishna is to call Indragopa equal to Krishna, because both of them are just different souls. Same category of soul, but in different category of body, that's all. So how is Indra different from the Indragopa? Not really different. So all are living entities like us. So Kita Samasta Sura. So that is their position. So it is an insult. So a devotee cannot take this. So they contaminated and they think that ordinary man, they find fault and they criticize you. It is an arrow piercing our heart. So this is an act of love to preach. If we really love Krishna, if we have any attraction for Krishna, if we have any concern, affection for Krishna, we have to fight for him. Fight for him and glorify him and help the others to recognize him. So it's actually fighting we are not fighting the world, we are fighting the illusion that has overtaken them, and save them from the illusion so that they can actually see that Krishna is supreme. So this is the heart. So therefore, you see the 1072.5, which we put in the WWOK book, which I call it the woke book, particularly because it's against so-called woke culture, and it actually awakens us to the real transcendental life. So I call it the woke book. So Taddeva deva bhavatascharanaravinda sevanubhavamiha pashyatu loka eshaha ye tvam bhajanti na bhajantyutavo bhayesham nishtham pradarshaya vibho kuru srinjayanam. Therefore, O Lord of Lords, let the people of this world see the power of devotional service rendered to your lotus feet. Then let them not see only you, let them see the power of devotional service rendered to you. The power of devotional service as well. Please show them, O Almighty One, the position of those Kurus and Srinjayas who worship you and the position of those who do not worship you. So, what happens to those persons who worship you? Here he is saying among the Kurus and Srinjayas, who are basically the assembly, but actually the whole world. So he is asking the Lord to please show the position of those who worship you and the position of those who do not worship you. Let there be the clear demarcation. The power of you, the power of your devotional service, and those who take to devotional service, and the position of those who do not take to devotional service. Let this all become clear without any ambiguity, which was the purpose of the workbook, and which is the purpose of Yudhisthira Maharaj Raja's sacrifice, and which is the purpose of Arjuna's asking Krishna to show the universal form, to show the opulence, to show the position of Krishna, so that no rascal will come and try to usurp that position and cheat people. So a rascal who positions himself as God or a savior by positioning himself as a guru, but he does not take to Krishna's mission of dharma samsthapana. On one side, that person is insulting Krishna and his mission, and on the other side, he is cheating the public. So it's a double offense to Krishna and to them. So he is going to be punished severely for that. So a devotee cannot see this. He will attack such pseudo gurus and pseudo incarnations and show them what is the real incarnation, who is actually God, and who everybody should worship. He wants to show this beyond the shadow of a doubt. So that is the heart of a preacher. So if you see the heart of a preacher, what is his behavior? 11.246 Bhagavatam. ईश्वरे तदधीनेषु बालिशेषु द्विषत्सु च प्रेम मैत्री कृपोपेक्षा यह करोति स मध्यम अधिकारी. The qualified second class qualification is this. What is that? An intermediate or second class devotee called Madhyama Adhikari offers his love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a sincere friend to all the devotees of the Lord, shows mercy to ignorant people who are innocent, and disregards those who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Disregards, but then shows still that he is the Supreme, let the whole rest of the society accept, and then eventually these people have no choice but to accept. Eventually they will come to this. So actually he's still, by neglecting them, he's actually showing them mercy by establishing it in a general way, not to them particularly, but generally, so that everyone can actually see and then change their minds on their own. Because if you directly tell them, then they may become angry. Let me show the opulence, and let them think for themselves. Who else can show this kind of opulence? Only the Lord. Okay, you know what? I think it's starting to make sense. Maybe they are right. Maybe the devotees are right. The Krishna is supreme. So that's the point. To turn them even. So not to preach to them personally, but to generally establish that Krishna is supreme. So eventually they will have to come to terms with that reality, because they have been fed a certain falsity as so-called reality. But when the reality actually is presented, then eventually their mind will be changed. So that's the hope. So in this way, a devotee, it's not four different things. These four, offers his love to the Supreme Personality, sincere to devotees, mercy to the innocent, showing mercy, and disregarding the enemies. These are not like four different things. It looks like four different things. Yes, they are kind of. But actually, at the center of it all is preaching. He's a preacher. And while preaching, he does all these things automatically. By preaching, we glorify the Lord. So that is our expression of love for the Lord, that we want to see him glorified by all people. More people must know about him. Nobody should denigrate him. Nobody should blame him. Nobody should accuse God. Nobody should say there is no God. So he cannot. So that's his love for the Lord, that he wants to see the Lord being accepted as the supreme, just like Yudhisthira Maharaj did and Arjuna did. So he wants to. That's his expression for the Lord. So by preaching, he's already expressing his love for the Lord. Okay, he's glorifying the Lord, and he's making sure that others also glorify him. That is preaching. Sincere friend to the devotees. So because others are serving him, and he cooperates with other devotees to glorify the Lord. So automatically friendship among devotees is established, because they all work for the common goal, and everybody is inspired by this endeavor to glorify the Lord. And mercy to the ignorant people, showing mercy. This is exactly what mercy is, to show them Krishna so that their lives become successful, and disregard the envious, but establish Krishna as the supreme, and then eventually they will turn their faces to Krishna. So that's why Prabhupada said book distribution in our movement is at the center of heart of it all, to distribute Prabhupada's books and to study his books and discuss his books. This should be our life. That's why in ISKM in Singapore, we started this. We just, in the nascent stages, we just started campaign called #Live Bhagavatam. Live Bhagavatam. What is that? To live according to the Bhagavatam, to preach the Bhagavatam, to study the Bhagavatam, to discuss the Bhagavatam, and to live according to the principles of the Bhagavatam, and share this lifestyle with others, and let them also come and be inspired and live according to this Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatams must be there in every devotee's house. A Bhagavatam set, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the whole library of Prabhupada's books must be there in every devotee's house. This is the center of our movement. Let's not forget that. And even if we are currently reading some other book or some small book or something, let that Bhagavatam be there. Why it has to wait for us to finish certain other book and then I will buy? No, I buy the entire library. I bought it when I was a student. I saved up money and I bought Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the whole set of books when I was a student. And there are many stories. I mean, many devotees, even very, very poor people, they are having Bhagavatam in their house. And so this thing has to be, in India, there are so many stories like this. So we have to have Prabhupada's books as in our house, one thing, and we should develop our relationships with all the devotees, centering it on glorifying Krishna by distributing his books everywhere. We should flood the whole world with Prabhupada's books. That's the way to conquer this world and offer it to Prabhupada and Krishna, so that the whole world will become peaceful. We should distribute books. We should discuss the books. That's why we should make, that's why I wanted to make so many videos. Although devotees, like Subala Prabhu is making so many nice videos. Nimanita Prabhu made so many nice videos. All this is discussion on the books. So we should discuss. Parasparam, bodhayantah parasparam, kathayantascha mam nityam, tushyanti cha ramanti cha. 10:9. See? Bhagavad Gita. So this parasparanu kathanam should happen. Discussion of the topics of the Bhagavatam, of the Bhagavad Gita, of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We should discuss these topics. We should live these topics. We should propagate these topics. And all the management of the temple and all should be to further this objective of distributing this knowledge. So we should take books we should always have books with us to distribute to anybody we meet. And every person, every interaction we meet, we should see how we can somehow or other sell him a book. He should take the book and contribute something for the temple. That should be in at our front and center in our minds. We should conduct ourselves like that. That's the heart of a preacher. We should develop that. Otherwise, we're not advancing actually. We will never advance if we don't preach. So you may say, no, I'm still a third class devotee. I need to come to that second class devotee where I feel the need, feel the urge to preach. No. In the beginning, honestly, once we start reading Prabhupada's books, we automatically will feel the bliss and we will automatically want to share it with others. Like, for example, you like something, just anything, even materially. You're excited about something. Don't you want to share it with your friend? Hey, you know what? I saw this movie or I saw this thing. Hey, I bought this thing. My father bought this thing. It was so nice. I really enjoyed this. Whatever, right? We want to share it. So because we're excited about that thing. Of course, it's a useless thing, whatever it is. But similar thing will happen to a devotee who actually reads and chants and associates with other devotees, serves in the temple. He will develop. He's so excited about Krishna consciousness that he can't wait to share it with others. He's not embarrassed by his Krishna consciousness. Oh, if I show that I'm wearing tilak or I wear a sari, or for the Mataji is wearing a sari, or for the Prabhu is wearing a dhoti. In the public, maybe people will look at me, like, what is this guy? What is this lady? Like weird. I'm not ashamed. I am excited to show that, yes, I am belonging to Krishna. You know what this dress is all about? Let me talk about Krishna to you actually. So that's the whole excitement of the devotee. So we will be enlivened when we adopt this preaching attitude. So we should read Prabhupada's books and we should be excited to share and glorify Krishna with others. So that is called Janma Sarthak Kari Karo Paropakar. So we should regularly read every single day Prabhupada's books, attend classes, chant nicely, and share it with others. Distribute the books, talk to others about this. So this should be our life. That's when we will be alive in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we are dead. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, Prana ache jar, she hetu prachar. In that song, Hey man, tumi kiser Vaishnav, what kind of Vaishnav you are. So in the end, he said, Prana ache jar, she hetu prachar. Those who have life in their life, they can preach. That means those who do not preach, those who do not feel the need to preach, they are dead spiritually. So we need to have that life. We should be alive and wanting to preach. And preaching means get them to take the book, because we can speak, a while, but then the lasting impact is created with books. So all our speaking or whatever is to drive that book there. And Prabhupada called it our family business. We have to, I'll tell you an example. The other day, one devotee here, Madhav Prabhu, he was sharing with me a very interesting incident. So I was talking to him about this, distributing Bhagavatam to everyone, and how we should, take book distribution as our family business. And think about that phrase, family business, and picture yourself of a family having a business. In India, you will find so many family businesses, right? And everybody, morning they wake up, they, meet, they go to the shop and open the shop, and, until lunch, and then some other person takes over, and they also have, they talk to their suppliers. There is whole day they're involved in, procuring material, selling things, and, pitching themselves to clients and making more clients. So they're always thinking about this all the family is, centered around that business. Very conscious about it. So the other day, Madhav Prabhu was sharing with me this incident. We have one person who comes here to our temple who is a Marwadi, and Marwadi usually are business people. Now, one day, this Madhav Prabhu went to his shop. Okay, he sells basically women's clothes like saris and ghagra choli, something like this. So he went to his shop. I think maybe buying something for the daughter or wife or whatever it is. So he went there, and apparently, as he was sitting and talking with him, another person came and said hi, to that shopkeeper, that Marwadi gentleman. And he was talking, and he said, "Oh, I'm a Marwadi." He said this thing, that thing. But this man, he did not say. The shopkeeper did not tell him that he was also a Marwadi. Usually, when you see a person of your own ethnicity, you would want to, hey, I'm also that. Like if I see a Telugu person somewhere in a foreign country, hey, I'm also Telugu, let's talk in Telugu. Or if I'm, it doesn't even have to be Telugu. If I Indian means, oh, Indian, okay, there is some connection already. Although in India, we would never care for that person, but in another country, oh, same Indian, okay, we will immediately converse or something. Where are you from, which part of India? We become interested in that person when it is from somewhere related to us. Now, here was a person who came in and said he was a Marwadi, and he just spoke to him in Hindi as if he was not a Marwadi. And after the person went away, Madhav Prabhu asked him, "Why didn't you tell that you were also Marwadi? Why were you not telling that? He told you he was a Marwadi. Why didn't you tell him?" No, no, no. If I tell I'm Marwadi, then he knows I'm Marwadi. Then he would want to be my competitor. He will open another shop in front of me and my business will be halved. Look at how conscious he is of his family business. I mean, this is business actually. I'm just letting you know how conscious he is, even when he's talking to that other person. He knows he's of the same ethnicity. He did not want to show because he considers his business to be too valuable to give it away to someone. How conscious he is of his business, even while talking. He will say or he will not say something, he will hide some things just so that his business is intact. You see, he would personally probably want to say that I'm Marwadi, but because he is by nature Marwadi and then he's absolute businessman, so he did in Hindi he said अगर उनको पता हो गया कि मैं मारवाड़ी हूँ तो वो भी एक शॉप खोलेगा और मेरा धंधा आधा करेगा. Dhanda means business. My business will become half because half of the customers will go to him then. So I don't want to say that I'm Marwadi. Because when the Marwadi meets another Marwadi, there is a spark that comes and then there will be some envy of this business mindedness and then competition starts. I don't want that. I don't want competition. So you see how conscious he was. So we were laughing about it, but also drawing a parallel on how conscious we should be at selling Prabhupada's books and discussing this philosophy and unabashedly. I mean, we should not shy away from selling Prabhupada's books and we should not be embarrassed at selling something because the product should be so good. We should be able to pitch the product in such a way that the cost becomes nothing. Oh, only this much? Oh, I will pay more than this for this. So the pitch should be like that the product appears way too valuable for the price it is. For the price it is charged. So that's how we must share the product. So ourselves we should be knowledgeable. If suppose I am trying to sell books of Prabhupada and I don't know nothing about it, of course I can still say, so I am still learning and these books are really helping me. I'm not an expert, but honestly I am telling you, you will get answers in this. I am sure you will love this book. I can sell it even like that. I don't have to position myself as an expert in the subject matter of the book to sell the book. But I should be sincere in my purpose though. If I'm learning, I should be really learning. And I'm excited about learning it. And I'm excited to share what I learned. So sometimes it can be, hey, I read this in Bhagavatam the other day and look at this. Isn't that wonderful? I'm learning so many new things and I'm telling you, I can't wait to read it at the end of the day after my tiring day, I am still excited to read that book. I think you should try it. So we can just pitch it like that. And honestly, this will save you so many troubles in life. We can always, when we are excited about something, when we actually know its true value, we don't have to be an expert in the subject, but it helps if we are, to an extent. Of course, we cannot be an expert in Bhagavatam. Who can say I'm expert about Krishna? We should be reasonably Krishna Tattvavit when we are a preacher, because when somebody asks us some question, we can give the answer. If we just say Bhagavatam has the answer, take the Bhagavatam, the person will say, oh, you're just trying to sell me the book and you don't have an answer, you don't even know how to explain. So that kind of puts the person off. But if we explain the answer, okay, we show all the verses, see, this is the answer. Now is it clear for you? Yes, that was clear. Okay, where did it come from? From the Bhagavatam. See, the Bhagavatam has all the answers. So I suggest you read this. It has answers for every other thing also under the sun or even above the sun. It has answers for everything. So you should try it. You should have it. You have spent so much on your education, on your children's education, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Every month you're spending. This is nothing. You should get it. So in that way, we have to know the value of these books, and then we have to present it. So we have to discuss these subjects as well, and then make the presentation for the book. Pitch the book. Let them get the books, and after getting the books, they have to read it. They have to think of how to get them even to read, because nowadays that's another problem. People don't read the books. If only they start reading, oh, their life will change, but they don't start reading. So how to induce them to read? So this should be our. This is the we should. Prabhupada said we should tax our brain how to distribute books. So that's what heart of a preacher is, and we should center our movement in this. Otherwise, we will be a dead movement in no time. Preaching should be at the right in the front and center of our consciousness. How to get the books to that other person's hands, to the other person's house, to this family. Books should go, not simply, oh, he respects me as a devotee. Fine. I'll be just known as a devotee. No. I'm not satisfied. If he respects me, then he should take my word for it, right? He should respect my word. If I say that he take the book, then he should take the book. That's real respect. So if he respects me, then I should leverage that to push our family business, which is to distribute the books. In that, what happens? The Lord is glorified. We cooperate with other devotees because it's our family business. We are one family as a devotees. This is our real family. And it is showing mercy to the innocent. And automatically, the envious people, they won't take a book. Never mind. We will think of another opportunity to strike him. A Marwadi, when a person goes out from his shop, not take any product, it's not that he is a lost customer. He will take the time to nicely, present everything. And even if after that he doesn't take anything, leave him with a good impression, treat him nicely, so that one day he may come back. So same with us. We have to learn how to be Marwadis for Krishna. We have to learn how to be a businessman for Krishna, to sell his books. So in that business, it's actually the mercy movement. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bado Sukher Khabor Gai. In that song, he says that, Nityananda Prabhu has opened the marketplace and storehouse of love of Godhead. Even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this analogy is made. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Nityananda Prabhu is selling for a very cheap price the love of Godhead, and he's just looking at the faith of a person, and he's giving him a very valuable commodity called the love of Godhead. And I'm taking a commission. I'm actually an agent. So you come and take that product also. And since I introduced you to that product, so I will take my commission as an agent. It looks like a business transaction, but commission means if I help somebody else come to Krishna consciousness, then I will also reap the benefits of that service. So in that way, I will also get that satisfaction of serving Krishna. So in this way, all of us will become happy. Nityananda Prabhu will be happy. You will be happy. I will be happy with my own commission. So it is like a business. And Prabhupada actually literally made it into a business by this book distribution. Prabhupada said it's his transcendental plot. One time he said that. You can search in let me see if I can find it. You see, found it. So let's read this letter here. My dear Lalit Kumar, please accept my blessings. I'm in due receipt of your letter, undated, and I'm very encouraged by the progress you are making. What is this letter? 1971, 15th November. Okay. I'm encouraged, very encouraged by the progress you're making to lead the citizens of your community, Wilmington, on the transcendental path to home, back to Godhead. Because you're a very sincere and enthusiastic boy and very intelligent also, Krishna has given you this position of leadership in his army to win the war with Maya and establish Krishna consciousness as the perfect way of life for every living entity. If you simply push on this one activity of distributing my books, your all success will be there. I have hatched this transcendental plot for getting money by selling my books, and if we stick only to this plan and use our brain for selling books, there will easily be sufficient money. I have recently informed the GBC to allow each temple to keep 25% of the money they collect from direct book and magazine sales for temple maintenance, 75% to be sent to the book fund. So these are details. So you see, transcendental plot. So he actually made it into a business. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was figuratively speaking about it in a business terms, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also kind of in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. But Prabhupada actually made it into a business. It's a product. Books are product, and there is marketing for the product. There is sales for the product, and marketing is all these lectures, the videos that we make, and just putting the book out there and promoting the books, talking about the book, and talking about the subject matter of the book. Marketing of the book is talking about the subject matter of the book in different, how it addresses different concerns of different people, of different everything, every problem, every concern that there is in this world. Bhagavatam has an answer. Prabhupada books have the answer. So we have to present them like that. We have to address that concern and see how present how Krishna consciousness can save that situation, and how that is there in the books. And everybody should have this education. This is the missing piece in the education system, and this is how we have to put it everywhere. And that should be how we should think. That's when we will become alive as devotees. We will have the full bliss of being in Krishna consciousness, when book distribution becomes front and center in our lives. Okay, so I'll stop it there. Any questions or comments about this? Let me also take a note of that letter, 15 November 1971. Who is that? Lalit Kumar. Okay. So the questions, now I'll go through the questions. 3639. What is that? That is this just after that verse 3636 when he talks about Ato bhagavato maya mayi namapi mohini yat swayam chatma vartmatma naveda kimutapare. Thus the wonderful potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is bewildering even to the jugglers. That potent power is unknown even to the self-sufficient Lord. So it is certainly unknown to others. That's a very nice verse actually. Even the Lord does not know. I only knew 10:51:36, but this is also another one verse. Okay, so that's that. — 11:29:38 is quoted in the comments. Let's go to 11:29:38. प्रत्यर्पितो मे भवतानुकंपिना भृत्याय विज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः हित्वा कृतज्ञस्तव पादमूलं कोन्यं समीयात् शरणं त्वदीयम्. It's a beautiful verse. In return for my insignificant surrender, you have mercifully bestowed upon me, your servant, the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, what devotee of yours who has any gratitude could ever give up your lotus feet and take shelter of another master? Beautiful verse. So going on. Yeah, so 4:20:25 is quoted, 4:8:68. Since the date is so here the question is, since the deities in all ISKCON temples were established by Srila Prabhupada, it means Krishna is still present there, right? Even though ISKCON is offensive. So, yes, of course, Krishna is present, and Krishna is present in every single atom. But the thing is, when we start to become offensive, actually, deity worship will kind of unify offensive devotees. That was the purpose of actually deity worship. If we see originally, I think 39, 7:14:39 Bhagavatam. दृष्ट्वा तेषां मिथो निर्णाम् अवज्ञानात्मतां नृप त्रेतादिषु हरेरर्चा क्रियायैकविभिः कृता. My dear king, when great sages and saintly persons saw mutually disrespectful dealings at the beginning of Treta Yuga, deity worship in the temple was introduced with all paraphernalia. So, when devotees were not behaving properly with each other, there's some discrepancies, there's some disrespectful dealings. So, deity worship was introduced so that the center is again the Lord. Eventually one has to understand the Lord is in everyone's heart, and eventually the causes for disrespect will go away. That's the hope, and eventually it'll take there if we are sincere. So the deity worship is still there, but if it goes to the point of extreme offense, eventually the deities will leave. So, for example, Rupa Goswami established the Govinda Devji temple and the Govinda Dev deity. But eventually the deity left, and now is in Jaipur. And there's another deity there in the Govinda Dev temple, but it has lost its glory. People go there for what now? Just go there as a tourist location and come back. There's no Harikatha going on. It's Rupa Goswami's temple. But even Radha Damodar Mandir, there is something here and there, but still the full effect of the pure devotee and the mission that the vibrancy of his mission, like how Prabhupada in his movement we feel so alive. We want to preach, we are fully surcharged with that kind of feeling. That is completely missing even in this Goswami temples established by Goswamis. But you see the mood, the bhava has changed, because the attention is more and more away from the Lord and more just making themselves happy or something like that. I'm not saying there may not be preachers there. There may be preachers there, but people go to that temple for what? Primarily, are there regular classes? Maybe there is. I don't know, but most of the temples, no. Govinda Devji temple, though, nothing for sure. Almost Madan Mohan temple of Sanatana Goswami. What is going on there? Nothing. It's just the one pujari is there doing something, and that's it. That's a dead temple. There's no preaching going on. But of course, since the acharyas have established, we'll still show our respect, and eventually, by actually showing them proper respect and teaching people the real thing, why people are going to Govinda Mandir, Govinda Dev Mandir, and Madan Mohan Mandir in Vrindavan when no preaching is going on? Because the preaching is happening in the rest of the world. So devotees from all over the world are going and seeing those deities in those temples. Only because of they know the value. So even if deities are neglected or what, if the knowledge is revived, then people's interest in the deities also will revive and the temple will again regain life. Eventually, if the management is also on board with all that preaching mission, yeah. But that's why it's better to have our own temples. Why Prabhupada, he could have started preaching in the Govinda Dev Mandir of Rupa Goswami or Radha Damodar Mandir of Jiva Goswami, Why did he set up Krishna Balram Mandir of his own? Because the management of the temple, he can have full control. If it's the management of those temples, they will sometimes may not be fully in line with the whole thing, and it's not very conducive. He was there, he was living there, but he was in his own room and he was trying to preach, and it was not in conjunction with the temple. He was friends with the temple priests and everything, but they were not like part of his preaching mission. They were also yes, Prabhupada, let's do it. They were not of that thing. So if he wants to establish a full-on training program according to his desire, he has to have his own temple. That's why there's Krishna Balram there. So the acharyas, they start temples like this with that intention, but eventually when the followers, when the downline, they lose that fire of Krishna consciousness, eventually they become relics of civilization. This has become relics. Like a dead body has bones, bones of a dead body, after all the flesh and everything is stripped off. So like that, it becomes just bare bones, the temple structure, without any bhava, without any life. It'll become a skeleton temple. So that's why this preaching mission is what will keep it going. That's why that has to be kept alive. Even at the cost, even if you don't have a very nice place or something, if the preaching mission is alive, that is enough. Eventually, everything else will come. But that should never die down at any cost. Sometimes preaching is compromised to build great temples. Like in India, even in our movement, in our Hare Krishna movement, there are other groups where they want to get money for building big, opulent temples. Aishwaryam, yes, it will attract people, but they do this at the cost of preaching. They collaborate with Mayavadis, they collaborate with people that we should not collaborate with, and get money from them, and have some mutual deals with them. So they cannot speak then very honestly. If I have to be thoroughly honest, then I have to just present the stark naked truth that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You have to surrender to Him. Every other way is wrong. Of course, we should prove those statements and present it in a way that is understandable to the people. But our mission should be that. But if we get money by hiding that truth, and with that money we construct temples, that is not spiritual opulence. That is material opulence. Now I have given my power to preach in exchange for the money. I have sold the power to preach, and I got some money. And with that money, so that kind of enterprise is not satisfying to Prabhupada or Krishna, or even to the devotees who are doing it. They will themselves not have the full bliss of Krishna consciousness. They're doing it, okay, I'm hiding and doing it. Why should we hide? There is no bliss in that. You see how Yudhisthira Maharaj, yes, I'm a king, I'm emperor, I'm already the supreme emperor on earth, and already so many demigods, they know me. Yeah, I'm satisfied, and I'm your devotee. I'm Krishna, you are with me. So hopefully they will understand that you are great. No. Aggressively, he wanted to do the Rajasuya sacrifice, and in that, the Agra Puja has to be done where the most exalted personality has to be worshipped, and he's kind of forcing people to worship Krishna. And if there is any discrepancy of opinion, let it be settled in that. And eventually it happened, right? It happened, right? The Shishupal was killed in that assembly because he was insulting Krishna, and eventually he was finished. And that was the intention of Yudhishthira Maharaj, that whoever has a different opinion, let them be corrected or killed or whatever, I don't care. Krishna has to be known as the supreme. Aggressive. He was not satisfied with just passively hoping that, because he has such a exalted position that even demigods know him, sages on other planets know him, and he is a devotee, and I think, I'm already well known, I will play that senior devotee role, and I'm happy with that. No. Are there anybody left who are not accepting Krishna? Okay, Rajasuya sacrifice, let everybody see it. He did not want to leave anyone. That is the heart of a preacher. So that's the mood. That's what will keep us alive in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur even went to the extent of asking for a tea stall outside the temple because he saw that it was attracting so many people. Yeah. So if tea stall is what brings people crowd, and let us have a tea stall outside our temple entrance. Once they come, then let us invite them and let them eventually come to our temple. So of course it's not that we should promote tea, but you see he's doing that. Never mind, but let them come and eventually we'll change them. So you see how he's thinking. So the question is, so is the temple planning to take over all the other floors in the building? This is more feasible than a whole new project. Well, there are owners of other units. They have to agree, right? They don't agree. They own those things. They don't. And we have to have the money as well. Anyway. So there is Abhiskar Chapagan is saying, I deeply appreciate Hindu culture and I find the work of the International Sri Krishna Mandir in Singapore truly admirable. Your efforts in preserving and promoting our dharma and culture are highly commendable. The peaceful and sacred atmosphere of the temple always attracts me. Good, if that is a genuine comment, because sometimes some bots and some guys just do this kind of comment. I hope it's genuine, and if it is, then we request you to go to the next step, to the next stage, which is study the books of Prabhupada and attend the lectures, because that's where the real heart of it is. Prabhupada said, religion without philosophy is fanaticism. Philosophy without religion is mental speculation. I repeat, philosophy without religion is mental speculation. It means without a conception of God, just philosophy, that is mental speculation. Religion without philosophy is just fanaticism. So if I'm, coming to the temple and I find this all nice, but I don't have any philosophical understanding, proper understanding of it, then it's just fanaticism, sentimentalism. So both must be there, religion and philosophy. The problem with especially Sanatana Dharma, the so-called Hinduism of today, is that they're very shallow in their philosophy. They just want to be sentimentally, they're on sentimental overdrive, I would say. But philosophically, no drive at all. So that's where we have to have philosophy. Then there is clarity. Then we know what is actually dharma and what we should be doing, and we can apply ourselves to that. Okay. Somebody is giving us medals. Hare Krishna France. Our devotees. I think Bhakta Jad. I'm sure it's him. I think the emojis did not show up in the comment very well. I think it's a yellow medal, red medal. I think some kind of gold medal he's putting there. This part about book distribution is life and soul. Yeah. Okay, so Hare Krishna France, I think it must be Bhakta Jad. He's saying letter to Balimardhan dated 1972, September 30th. Very nice, concerning being businessman for Krishna. Actually, producing and distributing books is our most important engagement. All other engagements culminate in this one end, distribution of books. So, this should be our life. Okay, thank you all very much for your time. We'll stop it here. जय श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, बृहद मृदंग की जय, बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, श्रील प्रभुपाद बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंद, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा.